Hi guys, and welcome to a brand new series on the channel. This series is called Top 10 Teams to Manage, and it's a series where I will be giving you a list of 10 teams which would suit certain scenarios. So for example, this first episode is Top 10 Teams to Manage for Immediate Domestic Success. So I'm going to run through a list of 10 clubs who I believe are perfectly set up for you to go and win a league or a cup in your first season in charge. Now this would be perfect for new players to the game, or people that haven't played Football Manager 2017 before, for you to get used to the game without having to worry too much about getting sacked. So this is like for new starters to the game, really. Now before we do get into this top 10 list, I'd just like to encourage all of you guys to head on over to www.off-side.co.uk to get all of your football news. There's some great writers out over there, lots of good articles. So get yourself over, like them on Twitter, like them on Facebook. I meant follow on Twitter because you can't like on Twitter, but you know what I mean. All the information will be in the description down below. With all that said, let's get into the list. So at number 10, we have Manchester City. Now this is the one and only English team in the top 10 list for today's episode. And I'll tell you why. Manchester City have won 2 league titles in the last 5 seasons. That's one of the reasons. But also, they do have lots of talent in their squad. So if we just take a quick look at their squad, they've obviously got De Bruyne, Aguero, Gundogan, Sterling, John Stones. They've got lots of good players and realistically should be challenging for the title season on season with those players. And when you add in the fact that they give you a transfer budget, a starting transfer budget of around £49 million to spend, that means you can bring in a few world-class players of your own. And realistically, you shouldn't have too much to worry about. However, saying that, the reason that they are only at number 10 in this list is because they play in England, they play in the Premier League, which is one of the most competitive leagues in the world. There are season on season about 5 or 6 teams that can win the league in any given season. So it's a bit more difficult than some of the other teams that are in this list. At number 9 in the list, we have the Galacticos of Real Madrid. Now, Real Madrid do have some of the best players in the world. They've obviously got Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale, but they do have others as well. You can see there Toni Kroos, Benzema, James Rodriguez. The list just goes on and on and on. They've not won the league since 2012, however, which is something that would be slightly concerning if you were wanting to just get to grips with the game and have a bit of an easy ride of it for your first save in the game. But with that being said, you do get a pretty good transfer budget, I guess, £17.2 million. And you do have lots of star players who you might not be able to fit into your squad, so you could possibly sell one of those players and get a bit more to bring in a few of your own players if you'd like. Also, Real Madrid, obviously one of the world football's superpowers, to be honest. The history that club has is just amazing. So with the players that you've got, it's likely, it's almost definite that you're going to be challenging for the Spanish league title. But the issue with that is, in Spain, you obviously have Barcelona and Atletico Madrid as well challenging for the title. So it's not going to be as guaranteed. It's the same reason, really, that Man City were number 10 in the list as to why Real Madrid are number 9 in this list. The competitive nature of La Liga means that they're not as likely to win something domestically compared to other teams in the list. At number 8 in the list, we head on over to Italy and to Juve. Now, Juve have won 5 Italian league titles in a row, and there seems to be no stopping them. Gonzalo Higuain, just been signed in the summer from Napoli, is an extremely good signing to get, especially from what is probably Juve's closest rivals at the moment, at least for the league title anyway. When you sign up with Juve, if you decide to manage them, you will get a transfer budget of around £20 million, and that is probably about enough to bring in maybe 1 or 2 good quality players to strengthen the squad. Speaking of the squad, however, they do have a lot of good players. They do have Higuain, as I mentioned before, got Dybala, Pjanic, Bonucci, Alexandro. There's lots of good quality players. They've obviously got Gianluigi Buffon as well, who's arguably one of the best goalkeepers of all time. The only major issue with picking Juve would be that Napoli who are their closest rivals, as I mentioned before, are getting stronger. And I do believe, in real life at least, Napoli are, if not this season, few seasons away from winning the league title. Like I've said, Juventus won it 5 years in a row, so there's not much stopping you from continuing that and getting the grips of the game. At number 7, we head back to Spain and we go to FC Barcelona. Now, if you're not aware of Barcelona, where the heck have you been? They have the best forward line in world football today of Messi, Suarez and Neymar. They have the best player in the world in Lionel Messi. They have won La Liga 6 times in the last 8 years. So why wouldn't you choose them? With all that being said, you don't have much money to spend, which isn't really that much of an issue because you have the best player in the world and some pretty damn good understudies, if that's the word you would use. However, the same thing comes back to it as it did with Real Madrid, where La Liga has 3 teams that could win the league. Of course, there are cups. I'm not forgetting about that, but the fact that Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid could all win the league, that's why they're so far down the list. But I do think that if you were to choose Barcelona, it's pretty likely that you would find some form of domestic success. If not in the first season, more than likely in the second season. That's if you would last to the second season if you don't win anything in the first season. In at number 6, we go to Portugal and to Benfica, who have won 3 Portuguese league titles in a row, and there just seems to be no stopping them. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know the Portuguese league that well, and I don't know, in fact, hardly any of Benfica's players. I know Luisao, who I believe has been there for many, many years now, and I think the fact that Benfica have won 3 league titles in a row tells you all you need to know about them and the competitive nature of the Portuguese league. However, speaking of the competitive nature of the Portuguese league, there's obviously teams there that will be wanting to knock Benfica off their perch in the forms of FC Porto, SC Braga, Sporting Lisbon. Some of the bigger names of Portuguese football will all want to be beating Benfica and knocking them off the top spot. But if you're looking for a save, that's going to be relatively easy. I would go with Benfica. 13 million transfer budget. I mean, you're probably going to get some pretty good quality players for the standard of the Portuguese league. Although saying that, I did notice that the Portuguese league's actually up to 5th in the rankings on Football Manager this year, which I was shocked at. It's above League 1, I believe. Yeah, number 5. So well done, Portugal. At number 5 in my list is PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. Now, they have been in total and utter control of French football for the past 4 seasons, winning 4 league titles in a row. They have some great players in the form of Di Maria, Verratti, Moura, Pastore, Cavani. I said his name a bit weird there, I meant to say Cavani. There's, again, lots of good players at PSG. They also have lots of money to spend, the most out of any of the teams that I've mentioned so far, in the form of £55 million. On this save anyway that I started up. But what it comes down to in terms of this list anyway is they are playing in a league where contenders appear to be coming out of the woodwork. We've seen this season in real life in the form of Nice. They were on top of the league a few weeks ago when I last looked. I'm not sure if they're still top of the league, but that would concern me if I was looking for an easy save. However, I think PSG would still be quite a fun save. Obviously, you've got lots of money to spend, you've got lots of top quality players, and it would be an easy introduction into the game. At number 4, we have the New Saints of Wales. Now, this is a bit of a random one. I say random, but you'll get what I mean. I mean, they've won 5 league titles in a row in Wales. And also this season, you're probably aware they beat Ajax's record of consecutive club victories by a top-flight team by getting 27 wins in a row in real life. 27 wins. That is just ridiculousness. Now, you're pretty much nailed on to win the Welsh League with this club. However, unlike some of the other teams I mentioned, don't expect much of a transfer budget. Now, £55,000 is how much I've been given here. And I'd say that's about how much you're going to get anytime you take over as the new Saints manager. Now, this particular team could work well as a short-term save, just for you to get involved into the game, but it could also work out well as a long-term save. I mean, the new Saints qualify for the Champions League every season, at least in the qualifying rounds, because that's what first place in the Welsh Premier League gets you. So a possible challenge for you would be to try and get them to the group stage of the Champions League and maybe even further eventually. So this isn't just a short-term save, this could be more of a long-term save, and if anyone does do any of these, do things with any of these clubs, especially the ones in, I'd say, the top four, I'd be really interested to see, especially the new Saints. In fact, yeah, probably, yeah, the new Saints. I think they'd be the ones I'd be most likely to, I'd be most interested in seeing if anyone's done anything with. At number 3 in this list are the Scottish champions Celtic. Now, they've been pulling up quite a few trees this season also. They've obviously won 5 league titles in a row. There's not been much competition in Scotland for them in the past 5 seasons, or in fact this season in real life. They in fact broke the Lisbon Lions record of consecutive domestic games unbeaten this season by going 26 games without losing. Now that is some magnificent feat. That's probably on a par, possibly. I think the New Saints record kind of beats it, but the New Saints were playing against lesser opposition than Celtic would play against. No disrespect to the Welsh League, but I would say Scotland's probably got a stronger top division than Wales do. Now, in terms of players, when you sign up to be Celtic manager, you've obviously got Moussa Dembele, who has been on fire this season in real life. Scott Sinclair, who's having a career resurgence up in Scotland. There are good players, especially for this division. Scott Brown, one of my favourite centre midfielders. He's just a hard-working, tough, classic centre midfielder. I love him. Again, not much in terms of transfer budget, £2.2 million, but the players that you've already got should be enough to pretty much guarantee you at least a cup final, if not the league title. Not much competition, I would say, in Scotland at the minute. I mean, Rangers are going to get stronger and stronger as the seasons go on, so that could be an issue further down the line. But if you're just wanting to win a league title in your first season, Celtic look perfect for that, in my opinion. And for the club in second place in this list, we head out of Europe to China. And we all know that Chinese football is getting somewhat of a gigantic investment at the moment. Guangzhou Evergrande are the team that I've picked from China to go in this list. Now, in real life, they've won 6 league titles in a row on the game. They've only won 5 league titles in a row because the game's halfway through a season when I've loaded this up, because I've loaded it up in July. But 6 titles in a row, even 5 titles in a row, they've got to be doing something right. And you do get quite a lot of money. You get £23 million. You've got an overall balance of £151 million. So I'm a bit surprised that you only get £23 million. But you've seen in real life the quality of players that Chinese football has been able to attract just because of the money involved. So I think this could be, again, similar to the New Saints. This could be a save for the short term. If you're just wanting to win a few games, maybe win a league title, Guangzhou would be perfect for that. But I think it'll also be fun to see what you can do with them, what you can do with Chinese football overall. Could you make them into a world football superpower like they really should be? So again, if any of you guys have watched this and you go on to do something with Guangzhou Evergrande, or if you've already started something with Guangzhou Evergrande and have managed to improve the Chinese football's reputation, I would be really interested to see something like that. And finally, we go over to Greece. Number 1 in this top 10 list, it's Olympiakos. With 9 league titles in 10 years, it had to be. It's ridiculous how good they are over in Greece. Very few seasons in the past 20 years, I think it's in fact 2 seasons in the last 20 years, that they haven't won the league. So if there was any club that I've found, obviously this is all just my opinion, that I believe would be perfect for you to just take charge of, get to grips with the game, and win the league title in your first season, it's going to be Olympiacos. Winning the league 9 times in 10 years is an impressive achievement in any league. But again, like the New Saints and Guangzhou Evergrande, this could make for an interesting long-term save. Olympiacos are regulars in the Champions League group stage. They've been in the knockout stages a few times as well, I believe. Could you take them to a final? Could you make Olympiacos a European superpower? Could you make them win Champions League after Champions League? I think that would be really interesting to see. Now, in terms of transfer budget, you're not really helped out much by that if you're wanting to get them to be a European superpower, £1.29 million. But if you stay there long enough, you'll be able to build the league up, build the league's reputation, and hopefully get some more money into the club and be able to invest that into the team to make them into a European superpower. So that's the list. Of course, I do want to say that this list is just my opinion. There are no guarantees that if you choose any of these teams that you're going to be able to win straight away, because it does depend on your tactics, it depends on your training, it depends on the players that you use and the players that you bring in. There's lots of stuff that it depends on, but these are the teams that, in my opinion, are best set up for you to just be able to start a game, join the club, and win a few trophies. So like I said earlier, if you have any recommendations of top 10 teams, not of top 10 teams, because that was the top 10 list for me, but of teams that you believe are set up to win things domestically immediately as soon as you start the game, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you've tried a save with any of these clubs and how it went on. Especially interested in sort of long-term saves with maybe the New Saints or Guangzhou Evergrande or Olympiacos, the 3 teams that I mentioned. But any of the saves, let me know how you did in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe to my channel to get all my content when it comes out. I'll hopefully be doing some more top 10 teams to manage list if this goes well, if this is received well. I obviously want to do top 10 teams to manage for European success. I'd also like to do some form of teams to manage that have possibly fallen giants. Like the teams like Parma, maybe even Leeds United would be in that list. But that's another story for another day. So once again, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.